Yeah, hi everyone, good evening. My name is Silvan. I am a physicist and software engineer. I used to do research in elementary particle physics before I moved into the computing industry. And these days I'm working as a software engineer for a startup in Toronto that builds AI accelerator chips, basically. But today I'm actually not going to talk about any of that. Instead, I'm going to talk about a fun little kind of side project that I did a while ago, which was to build a little car computer. So this is basically something like you will see in any modern car, kind of. So where you basically have a screen and it's kind of integrated with your entertainment system, but also with kind of vehicle controls. Except my version of this is a little bit more powerful. You can, for example, at least in principle, you could train a machine learning model on it to tell you whether your dog is sick. At least in principle, that is possible. I'm not saying I did it, but you could. Let's see this thing here. Yeah, kind of the background for all of this was I'm a little bit of an automotive enthusiast. So when I moved to Vancouver in 2019, I bought this car, Subaru Legacy GT. Really like this car. Has all-wheel drive system, the classic Subaru thing, turbocharged Boxer engine, and it's a wagon. Really liked it. It's kind of a WRX, except for grown-ups. And me being the grown-up that I am, the first thing that I did was to slap this stainless steel exhaust system on it, which I found really cool. So yeah, I really like this car, but it was also kind of quirky in that it was a Japanese import. Means it has the steering wheel on the right-hand side. The other thing is it has this super old-school car computer in it. And that was all also in Japanese. And you can see that here in this little demonstration. It's super basic. You can get the gas mileage out of it, but there's also a couple of settings hidden in there in that menu, and those are really hard to navigate if you don't know Japanese. So I did a little bit of research into whether you can switch this to English by doing a software update or just pressing the magic button. Turns out it's not that easy, unfortunately. What I did find, though, while researching this topic, was this post that someone made, who had taken out this unit, this display unit, and found that it's actually kind of a generic unit. And the cool thing about it was that it had this RCA input here, which means you can basically use it as a display for anything you need. So you can basically hook up whatever you want. So that got me thinking, well, what could I use this for? Let's just do something completely different with this thing. So what I did was I got myself a Raspberry Pi, and probably here in this audience, more or less everyone knows what this is, but in case you don't, this is kind of a more or less like a desktop computer system, just in a very compact form factor. So it has like a quad-core CPU on it, 8 gigabytes of memory, has Wi-Fi. So you can do pretty much, it's very versatile. You can do a lot of cool things with it. So yeah, I went ahead and ripped apart my car to start this project, basically. Took some seats out to do some more wiring. And then what I started with was to just put a Linux operating system on my Raspberry Pi. So I installed Arch Linux here on this unit. I attached it to my TV because I didn't have a monitor back then. So yeah, got a sort of full-blown, this is kind of like full-blown desktop Linux distribution installed onto it. Then hooked it up to this unit, and indeed it works. So at this point I kind of had a more or less like a desktop computer in my car. I did also clean up the wiring and put the trim back to make it all look nice. So at that point, we had basically what you see here. I think this is the video. Yeah, so kind of quick demonstration. Again, it's basically just a desktop computer, so you can launch a browser. You can browse the internet. You can also watch YouTube videos.
Seems dangerous.
And as you can hear, it's also hooked up to the sound system. So the sound is played through the sound system of the car. So yeah, that was kind of fun, and I thought this is kind of cool, but also kind of gimmicky, because these days, if you want to waste your life on the internet, you use your phone and not, I don't know, a tiny little display in your car. So I thought about, okay, what else can we do with this? What else that's actually kind of useful? And I thought it would be cool to basically have a digital gauge cluster, kind of in addition to the gauge cluster that the car already has. The idea here being that the car actually knows a lot more about its own state, about all of the sensors that it has, than it shows you on the gauge cluster. So I did some research into, okay, how do I get my Raspberry Pi to communicate with the car? And then I stumbled upon this this mystical document here, which is this random PDF that floats about on the internet. And what it is basically the protocol to communicate with the car's engine's control unit via the OBD2 port. So that's basically that's basically the diagnostics port of the car that you use to read out error codes, for example. So what this means is basically here you have the instructions to hook up to this OBD2 port and then extract all kinds of interesting data from the ECU, and that basically gives you the power to, I don't know, get working on this digital dash.
I think that protocol's a standard, right? Like most cars implement.
Yeah, most cars use a standard protocol. They have their own.
Oh, okay.
After 1996, though, it's going to be after 1996.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, I coded this up in a little C++ library, which is, if you happen to have a Subaru, you can get it from me if you want. But I coded it up in a little library that basically encapsulates all of this and lets you basically query the ECU for all kinds of data, like for example, coolant temperature, manifold pressure, battery voltage, all this kind of stuff that was available here in this document. So with that, you can do very basic stuff like this. Here I just hooked up my laptop and had a simple loop that just reads out RPM, battery voltage, and I think this is manifold pressure, for example. So the next step then was basically to write a little application that takes this data and makes it kind of nice and makes an actual dashboard out of it, and with like gauges and stuff. So I did that as well. And the end result of that you can basically see here. This is a little demonstration. Turning on the ignition, I think the thing is going to boot now. You don't have to do that every time you turn on and off the car. It consumes so little power that you can just basically leave it on if you want. So then it launches. It should directly launch this dashboard, and there it is. And here I chose to display the battery voltage, coolant temperature, engine RPM. Yeah, and that's basically already it. Just a little demonstration of this fun little project that I did a little while ago.
Awesome.
I love the group messages when you turn the car on, it's great.
Yeah.
Now, does the OBD let you do everything that the original Japanese interface let you do, or?
The original, the display that was there.
Yeah.
Actually, more than that. Yeah.
But everything that it had is also included?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When the Linux screen was booting up, there was a splash screen with the Subaru. Did you throw that in there with the Japanese?
No, that was basically the device itself.
Yeah.
Before it would switch over to the RCA input.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And it's just as a follow up because I noticed it was RCA. So what's the line input? Because it's always like it's such low resolution, but on
Yeah.
a small screen,
It's fine. Yeah.
yeah, it's
absolutely.
almost designed for it.
Totally. Yeah.
Awesome.
So are you using that display just as an external display, or can you use the touch screen? Can you use all the other stuff?
No, you can, unfortunately, because again, I just used this RCA video input, so
Okay.
the only thing it does is really just display. So I have nothing. I wasn't able to use the touch capabilities. But if you press this button here, then it switches back to the original system. So that all still works actually.
Oh, okay.
So you kind of switch back and forth between the two.
Only if you speak Japanese.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you have a mouse in your car?
Yeah, with the USB mouse. But again, in this state, if you wanted to use it like that, you don't need the mouse, right? You just turn on the car, this thing boots up, and then you have it, right? So it's only if you want to look at a web browser that you have to get out the mouse.
So if I find a screen that fits, I could retrofit this on my 2010 Forester?
I guess so, yeah. 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 Should be able to.
How did you interface the OBD2? Is it all Bluetooth adapters or
Just a cable, yeah.
just directly?
There's USB
Directly in the
adapters.
Raspberry Pi?
Just a USB adapter, and then it's all by a serial port.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Your car sounds delicious.